Hi, I'm Matt Newman.
Jared Lintner.
And we're out here at Santa Margarita Lake.
Yes.
Santa Margarita Lake, and we're out here fishing punkers. We're in the late summer, early fall. We came out here hopefully to find these wolf packs. Typically the wolf packs of fish are out here in late spring, but this has been such a cold year. We figured it'd be best to come out here this time of year. We're sitting here in the 1st of August, beginning of August, and we're fishing the Black Dog Lunker Punkers. We're targeting these grass beds, and we're just really hoping to find these big schools of these giant Santa Margarita bass that I've heard about. Jared, you fished here with punkers before?
Yeah, I've caught some really big ones out here, and basically what it is they get in this willow leaf grass, and there's kind of defined edge, but where these fish are coming up out of is this sparse, the sparse grass that's way out off the bank, and those big ones, they just sit there and they wait for a bigger meal to come over their head, and they just kill it. I mean, it's kind of a new thing here in the Central Coast where I live, but down south, you've been catching big ones for a long time now.
Yeah, we've got about 4 years ago. I found the punker on the internet, and it was a little treat. I originally got it to reach a spot that I couldn't get a regular bait to, and it turned out to be an incredible bait. I mean, when we first got this, we took it to Lake Casitas, and we were catching. There was about 4 of us, me and the Baileys, Breakbill, and we were out there fishing these things, and all of us, each of us, were getting 15 over 8 pounds a day while the bait was fresh on that lake.
And you never called me?
I did.
I got nothing. No, but I think you guys were targeting them out deeper or pulling them up, whereas like here we're trying to fish and catch them up out of like 12 to 15 foot around the grass, whereas you guys were fishing open water because the water's so clear.
Yeah, exactly. I got here and saw the water's a little dirtier, so I thought, well, my old trick isn't going to work. At Casitas, we're focusing on fish that they're suspended. Sometimes they'll be sitting in 20 over 50, and we're pulling them up these points. But as the water gets a little dirty, obviously the fish get braver. They're going to move up a little bit more shallow. And as Jared says, they're using these grass lines so that they're still wolf packing, I'm assuming.
Usually this time of year when you catch one, there'll be anywhere from 5 to 15 of them, same size, grouped up, coming up to take the bait away out from another one. So it's a really cool way to fish, and you got to have the right gear though. If you don't have the right gear, don't even bother fishing one of these things because you'll just be frustrated all day. Yeah,
it's a unique bait because it's a chunk of wood. It's a heavy bait. Yeah. So I designed this rod. This was a bait that I think I based this rod over, and this is the Jumbo Swim from iRod. This is the 7/8. This it's a stiff dude, but it wings these baits, and you don't get tired. You can fish this for 8 hours, and it won't tire you. You don't have to heave it through the air. It really lets the heavy tip, just spring it off.
Well, I noticed you're throwing braid, and I'm throwing like 25-pound mono. You get bit on that braid even though in that gin clear water?
In gin clear water, I get bit on it. I'm generally working it faster than slower, and I want the braid. I've fished with mono before, and it's too much stretch.
I can feel it stretching.
It's horrible, and it fatigues you more too.
Right.
So with the braid, I've got an instant snap on it. Now, if you're concerned about the line spooking fish, you can always tie on a fluorocarbon. I'd put a 25, 30-pound fluorocarbon leader on the front of it. But
most of the time when a big fish sees that, they're not really worried about the line, I guess.
No,
they're coming after you to kill it.
They're coming at it fast. These are big baits, and it's usually the most grumpiest fish in the lake that are eating them, so they're coming out of them. They're coming fast.
I'm throwing like the Revo Toro just because it holds a lot of line, and a smaller low profile bait caster reel feels like it's like too small to throw with a big rod and a big bait. So what kind of?
This is the Corrado 300. This is I love this reel. It's got a good line pickup. It's a higher speed than the round reels. I think it's in the 5s, where the other ones are in the 3s and 4s. And it's got a giant spool, so I can fill that spool with 65-pound braid, and I can throw it a mile, and I still won't get near the end.
And what kind of? I haven't thrown this thing as much as you guys have, obviously. So I just kind of experiment, and almost every time I go out to the lake and fish it, I just kind of do like a methodical side-to-side walk the dog action with it. I mean, is it sometimes they want it on a fast retrieve, or have you ever caught them just throwing out there and dead sticking it like some of the other wood swim baits?
I haven't dead stick this one as much. I'll have that bait on the deck if I feel that's what they want. I'll have a dead stick bait, something with a little bit more of a joint. But this guy, You can dead stick it. There's no reason why you can't. But and people always ask, what's the best retrieve for the biggest fish? And it's like shaking a worm. And what's the best retrieve for that too? I always switch it up. Each cast I'll switch it up. I kind of imagine, you know, a steady cadence was going to bring that the pack, hopefully, the fish to the bait, and then you can just start speeding it up like it's trying to get away.
Yeah, and then you got to just get one to change its mind.
Unless I'm clobbering them on one set cadence, I'll keep it changed all day.
That's the other cool thing. You can throw these things miles.
A mile.
Clear water. You know, you're not on top of your point or your tree or your brush pile, whatever you're fishing.
Yeah, generally your big ones you're chasing, those are the spookiest fish. So this allows us to get on top of them without. And I love casting. Look how far that.
Yeah, that's
okay, that we got low. And then hook sets and fighting them in. That's another question I always get. You know, where I get people they'll load up and oh cool, it's pulling. It's an ugly affair when I catch one. There's no grace or ease when I catch a fish. I'm winding. It's a winch. I'm going to wind as fast as I can. I'll usually end up in the back of the boat. If the fish is still hot when it gets here, I'll lap the boat. I don't ever want to give him a chance to change his direction. There's nothing sporting about it once I hook him.
Well, you can't really allow them to jump or change directions like you said, just because it's so heavy they'll throw it.
Exactly. And that's where this rod can get a little tricky. It's great on casting. That's the best part. You can cast it all day without the fatigue. But when you do get a fish, you've got to keep it loaded and you've got to keep winding. You can't really ever stop to analyze the situation. It's head down and wind.
Wow.
Well, I hope these tips on the punker give you some more confidence to go out there and throw it. But 3 things to remember. First thing is equipment. Make sure you got the right rod, braid, big enough spool on your reel, and keep throwing. That's the big thing I keep telling people is keep throwing, have the confidence. This bait here has had over 200 fish caught on it. I'd say 80% of them were over 7 pounds. That's the proof. So keep throwing it, have the confidence. Once you get one bite, it'll lead to more and more and more. You'll start reading the book. Good luck. Catch them. Available at Tackle Warehouse.